So Bohemia have just dropped the third DayZ Badlands development blog, and this one gives us our best look at some of the military gear, weapons, infected and overall visual direction for Nasdara. Now I'll be honest, the more I see of Badlands, the more this feels like the biggest change to DayZ since Frostline. Not because of a new gun, not because of a new jacket, but because it feels like they're trying to build a completely different world. Let's take a look. The new military gear. One of the biggest things shown off in this dev blog is the new military clothing. Instead of the green woodland camouflage we're used to in Chernarus and Livonia, Badlands is moving towards beige, olive, faded blues and desert camouflage patterns, and honestly, it makes sense. If Nasdara is going to feel like its own place, it can't just be Chernarus with sand. The OBR uniform looks like the standard military field gear, while the F&O jacket appears to be more specialist equipment designed for harsher conditions. What interests me the most is how this will affect PvP. For years we've trained our eyes to spot green military gear in forest and dark environments. Now imagine trying to identify players across dusty valleys, desert towns and rocky terrain. Visibility could completely change. The infected finally feel human. This is probably my favourite section of the entire blog. The developers talk about wanting the infected to feel more human rather than just generic infected people. They've built the infected around three main ideas: regional identity, progression of decay, visual storytelling. In simple terms, every infected should tell a story. You should be able to look at them and understand who they were before the outbreak. A police officer, a civilian, maybe a soldier, someone who lived in Nasdara. That might sound like a small detail, but that's exactly the kind of world building DayZ thrives on. DayZ has always been at its best when the world itself tells stories without needing dialogue. The new melee weapons. Now let's talk weapons, because Badlands is introducing some really interesting historical blades. We've seen the Scimitar, the Jambiya dagger, the Akinaka, police patterns and donner knives. Now before everyone starts screaming, it's just a knife, I actually think these could become some of the most sought after items in the expansion. The developers aren't treating them like reskins. They're giving them different durability, reach and combat characteristics. The Scimitar in particular sounds nasty, long reach, fast swings, one-handed use, which immediately makes me wonder how many freshies are going to get chopped up outside military zones during launch week. The Akinaka could become a status symbol. One thing that stood out to me was the Akinaka. The developers describe it as an extremely rare historical blade and suggest that finding one should mean you either mastered survival in Nasdara or defeated somebody who has. That's interesting, because DayZ doesn't really have prestige loot. Most players end up chasing guns. Maybe Badlands changes that. Maybe some items become trophies. Things players keep because they're rare, not because they're the strongest. I like that idea. The surprise firearm. Hidden away at the end of the blog is a firearm many people will recognise. The P08 Luger, a genuine piece of history, and honestly, it fits perfectly. Badlands already feels like a place where history and survival are colliding. The Luger isn't going to replace your late game rifles, but it's exactly the sort of weapon DayZ excels at adding. Rare, interesting, full of character, and something players will actually get excited about finding. What excites me most, the biggest thing I'm taking away from this blog isn't a specific weapon or item, it's the direction. Everything we're seeing suggests that Nasdara isn't simply another map. They're building a region with its own identity, different military forces, different infected, different clothing, different history, different loot, and they can deliver on that feeling of being somewhere completely unfamiliar. Badlands could become one of the most memorable expansions DayZ has ever released. But what did you think? Are you excited for the new weapons? Do you like the new military gear? And more importantly, do you think Badlands is shaping up to be bigger than Frostline? Let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there, survivors.